Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out today. Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10-4-10, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising such notice in the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, the Board Office, the schools, and on Cablevision Channel 118 and Verizon Fios 24, and by filing such notice with the Township Clerk. This meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, February 18th, 2020. The board will take formal action on payment of bills and other agenda items. Mr. Mayor?
The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of this state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that that act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recording is to be considered the private recording of the individual and in no manner represents the official record of this board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use. Burns,
Present.
Callie,
Here.
DeCaro,
Here.
DePrima,
Here.
Dunn,
Here.
Giordano,
Here.
Lent, Silikowski,
Here.
Ellis Foster.
Here.
Quorum exists.
And thank you. Mrs. Lent did call. She is not able to make it today for a medical issue. So please rise for the pledge. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I ask everyone to please remain standing. Have a memoriam. Move the board acknowledge the death of Annette Weinstein, retired gifted and talented teacher, and Peter Delaney, former principal of both Cedar Ridge and Madison Central High School and assistant superintendent. And we express our deepest sympathy to their families. Okay, thank you, everyone. All right, thank you, everyone. We will start with our Code of Ethics corner this month, and I believe Mrs. Burns?
Code of Ethics Corner, highlight of the month. The board member will uphold and enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the State Board of Education and court orders pertaining to schools. Desired changes shall be brought only through legal and ethical procedures.
Thank you. Goals. Okay. We have approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion?
Then we'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
DeCaro, second.
Thank you. Any comments, any questions?
Yes, I have a comment. I guess maybe this is a little too loud over here. Yep. Okay. Yeah, Peter Delaney. I started teaching here back in the early 70s, and he was the principal at that time over here at, this was Cedar Ridge. I started at Madison Central. And about 10 years later, I finally met the individual where I had to commute back and forth teaching my photography classes. He was an outstanding teacher. He was also department head of the English department for a while, and he's the only individual as an administrator that, being an administrator, he also taught a class in English. He found the time. He would teach the class in the morning and do whatever he had to the rest of the day. But he's going to be really missed. He was a heck of a guy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Solakowski. Anyone else? Okay. Can we have roll call, please?
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
Oh, and we don't have our student representative here. Okay. Well, I'm sure they're doing a lot of awesome things at the high school. So, so we move on to the best part of the meeting, recognition. So, Mr. Cittadino, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good evening. Our first recognition this evening is move the board to recognize Allison Voss for her years as leadership as the SEPTA president. Can I have Ms. Voss join us here? Ms. Voss, we want to thank you for all of you've done while as a parent of a special needs child in Old Bridge School District, and then after your child had graduated, still staying with us and being an intricate member of our school community and our special needs community specifically. What you've done over the years is take so many hours away from your own family to dedicate to the children of the school district, and with little reward many times. So we want to thank you for that. We've had a nice little plaque made for you. It's glass, so I don't want to break it. But, I hate touching it because I got my fingerprints all over it.
Oh, look at this.
But it reads, Allison Voss, all you've been, everything you've done, is invaluable, appreciated, and never to be forgotten. Thank you on behalf of the Old Bridge Township Public Schools.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Oh,
Okay.
I would put it in there.
And I don't want to, and go ahead, you read yours and then I'll finish up with
Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I am truly honored and just touched by everything. It has truly been a wonderful journey for all these years. When I attended my first SEPTA meeting, I could go on like 22 years. I could have like 30 pages. But when I attended my first SEPTA meeting, I knew it was something I needed to be involved in. It started out as parents, just sitting around supporting each other and learning from each other. It evolved into presentations and speakers to help families on their special education journey. It became a passion of mine from the very beginning, helping and supporting families. I know that 22 years is a long time. It might be a little more than that. I did start out at Shepherd School before I went over to SEPTA, but it was hard to give up. I have been through 4 superintendents, 3 directors, and have learned so much from all of them, and I am grateful for all of their support, and especially Dr. Tui, who has supported me so greatly, and he's been wonderful over the last, I don't even know how many years. Feels like 10 or more. I would like to thank, and also SEPTA is in the best hands ever, so I would like to thank Diane Michael, Kim Venturola for all their support and hard work to make SEPTA the amazing organization it is today and what will be going in the future. They are going to be taking it to levels beyond belief. They are truly an amazing, amazing set of ladies. I am going to be still at meetings supporting parents, hopefully along the way. It is truly in my heart, and it's going to be really hard to give up. And last but not least, I would love to thank my Alyssa, because if it was not for her, she's over there hiding her face, she doesn't want to come up here, I would not have been able to do all that I have done. She has just, from the very beginning, you know, sent me on this journey, and I love her, and thank you very much, Alyssa. Thank you, everybody.
Don't go away yet.
Oh, I'm not going, oh geez. I'm going to cry in like 2
So
minutes.
this year we've learned a lot about the SEPTA Rocks program. And how many rocks did you personally paint?
I was there through the first painting. I think we did about 200 that day.
Well, I painted my first rock
Oh,
this
boy.
weekend.
Oh, very nice.
And you see it.
Oh,
It says #Voss Rocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this someplace in Old Bridge.
okay.
And whoever finds it, contacts me with it. I want it returned so we can give it back to you.
Okay, I'll take it.
We'll get a $100 gift card to dedicate to any teacher in the district for their classroom.
Oh,
put towards
How
your
wonderful
class.
is that? Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know what to say. I'm going to cry in 2 minutes. Thank you.
You want us to do it right here?
Oh, pictures of Rock and my. No, I'll hide it back here. I'll hold the rock. All right, you take this back here.
Thank you.
All right. I'm gonna
Thank
take
you very
this.
much. Our next recognition tonight is for a 10th grade student at Old Bridge High School, Matea Mendique. Can you please come to the podium with your family? And Mr. DePrima. Matea, congratulations. The motion reads, move the board to recognize Matea Mendique, 10th grade student at Old Bridge High School, for winning the Community Food Bank of New Jersey's Student Change Hunger Competition. Matea, with the help of the Red Cross Club, collected the most food in all divisions in the competition and was one of 10 students selected to be part of a team leadership council for the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. So we want to thank you, and you're going to continue doing work with the Community Food Bank?
Of course, definitely. I think what we achieved in this year alone was excellent. I'm ecstatic to work on behalf of the community. What I'm most excited for definitely is the work to be done. I hope to double the amount of food we collect by next year, hopefully, and really inform the community on this universal struggle against hunger.
Excellent, Matea. So what we've got for you tonight is not only a handsome certificate in your name for your honor,
Thank you.
but also a $50 gift card to Stop and Shop to set you on the way for next year's competition.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, move over this way. Come on, get in here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Here's the box that comes with Dad. I'll give that to you. Thank you so much. Thank you. There was supposed to be one more part of recognition. I spoke to a student who submitted to me a video that she made for the marching band, and through my error, I did not pass it on so they have the big screen up, and having it just play in the background would not do it justice. So I'm going to ask that we do that at a future meeting. But her name is Iman Diab. She's here this evening, probably working in the background with the crew. Oh, there she is. She is right there. Mom just arrived. But my apologies to you. I'm not getting that part set up. So whatever meeting that you can make, either the agenda meeting or the board meeting in March, I will make it up to you and have it there. And I know you're busy with band and everything between, and I invite you and your mom to go to dinner with me before that, so that at least you don't have to worry about doing that in between marching band and coming to the meeting. So thank you, and hopefully you'll honor me next month. Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion to move recognition?
Giordano motion.
Thank you, Sarah. Can I have a second?
Callie, a second.
Any comments?
I just want to congratulate Allison. Don't start. I know I've said it before, but you really were one of the first faces when I walked onto district property for the first time and got involved in PTA. And you've been a great leader of the SEPTA organization and a role model to all the other PTA presidents and President's Council. Stop making faces. And okay, I don't want to make you cry, and I don't want to start to cry. So just thank you for everything you've done, and stick around. Okay. And Matea, thank you for your efforts. For years, I was the coordinator of the food drives at President's Council, so I personally appreciate your efforts to help the area food banks, and it's just very heartwarming to see a student step up and take a lead to help others less fortunate. So thank you for your efforts, and keep up the great work.
Madam President, I'd like to just say, Allison, what's left to say besides thank you? Congratulations and thank you for everything you've done. As Jill said, as far back as I can remember, SEPTA, Allison, SEPTA, you just go together, so thank you so much. Matea, again, as Mrs. Cowley said, it's great to see students involved in helping the community. We can see what kind of adult you're going to be, so thank you also. Keep up the good work.
Absolutely. I just want to say real quick, Allison, I've known you for almost 20 years, and quite frankly, I have to say that, you know what, you're an extraordinary woman. And I have to say that I've admired you, and you've given my family and my daughter a blessing in her life, and you've made a big difference. And it's not only my child, and I'm sure that you've impacted thousands of children in the special needs program over the years, and you know what, you're a very kind and giving and wonderful person. And this town's better off because of your years of service to our children. Matea, thank you for your commitment to this town and making a difference. It's wonderful to see young men like yourself who are striving to make a difference in this world. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you to Allison for always putting up with my screaming and crying at her meetings. And Matea, thank you so much for helping out the food bank and all those other parents and families that are going to have a burden, less of a burden now that you get to help. Thank you.
Basically going to echo my fellow board members. Matea, congratulations to you on all your efforts. I'm sure your family's so very proud of you, as we all are. And please always continue in your struggle, in your fight against the struggle, you know, to fight hunger, because you know what? These people need you. We need people like you. So as you grow older, I hope you continue. That's excellent. Congratulations to you. Allison, you're the face of SEPTA. I mean, seriously, you really are. This is what we know. We know you as the, and the one thing about you, and the one word that always comes to mind when I think of Allison Voss, is I just think of your kind heart. That is the one thing, and I think that that is what really grew and made SEPTA such a great place, because everyone that was involved with SEPTA knew that they can come to you. They knew that you would help them. You would find the means to reach out to whoever you needed to reach out to help those people. And you know, that role model, that model and that vision of SEPTA that you created is now, I know, going to extend to the new to Diane and to Kimmy and to Scott, and they're all such wonderful people to be following, you know, in what you do. And I know they're going to be growing it, I know. And but just, you know, that's, thank you for everything you've done. That's it.
Yes, Allison, yes, I met you, I guess, about 20, 25 years ago, and it's going to be very difficult for anybody to fill those shoes that you wore, okay? Thank you for your service. And the paycheck was quite large. No, I'm not talking about, you know, financial. I'm talking about what you did and what you achieved for the school system. Thank you very much for your time. You too, Mateo, okay? We need young people like you to do what you're doing. Thank you.
So it's hard to go last, but Mateo, can you tell me what was the tonnage of the food that you had? It was over 5,000? So 5,400, not tons, pounds. Yeah, but that's a ton of food. So, I mean, it is amazing, so thank you. And, you know, the Red Cross Club does amazing things. I see Ms. Arcieri back there and Mrs. Wallenstein leading that group, just phenomenal. So thank you and continue. Now, I'm not going to say anything, because everybody said everything already, and then I'll start crying. However, I can say the most important thing I noticed is I've never seen Alyssa be shy. So I think that's the most shocking thing there is. But thank you, and we know this is not the end. So. Okay. Oh, roll call, please.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Absolutely, yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Solikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolution 1 and 2 passed.
Thank you. Superintendent's report.
All right. Thank you, Madam President. First, I wanted to, on the superintendent's report, just inform the public as to an item on the agenda tonight. Page 16, under board business? Supplies, equipment, and services, there's a competitive contracting language in which the Old Bridge Township Public Schools is looking for competitive contracting for substitute services. And just an explanation as to why and how it'll have an impact here in the district. And again, this is investigatory. We do not know, maybe no agencies. There's only really 2 or 3 agencies out there that service New Jersey in this highly niche area that may respond to the competitive contracting bid. First, our substitutes within our schools through negotiations are no longer part of the collecting bargaining unit with the OBEA. So they're kind of freelancing on their own. Secondly, there's been some changes in legislation from the governor's office that highly impacts how we best meet the needs of that group. One is that pending changes will have an impact on sick days and tracking sick days because substitutes will be eligible for that. And second is family illness and having able to track family illness for when a substitute works and wants to use family illness. And it makes it very challenging to track that kind of data for a group of hardworking individuals who do not work every day and only work at their will. So that part is difficult. The second part is more of the challenge that we face as district leaders in this time when the unemployment rate is as low as it is. A lot of substitutes over time are either college students who are looking for avenues into education while they're finishing up their degrees after amassing 60 credits or beyond, or they are people who worked in their fields and may be unemployment at time, but they have enough degrees and a substitute certificate to work in the schools. Well, that pool are both dwindling. Less people are going into education, and less people are unemployed right now. So it makes it very difficult to find, vet, screen, and recruit these type of special employees. To give an example, we have 181 education days in Old Bridge. 39 of them are considered high stress days, which means you're talking about days leading up to the winter holiday, Friday, Monday, when there's high volumes of teachers absent. The day after Super Bowl, probably the highest high stress day across education. As the weather gets nice in May, Fridays, Mondays in May become high stress days for filling absences. So to give numbers to that, of those 39 days, on those days we typically have a 64% fill rate. That would mean that 36% of our classroom positions are unfilled, and we have to fill them internally with teachers who are already working a full schedule. That leaves us just in those times with 1,793 unfilled positions during the course of the 181 school days. A normal stress day is just, a day like today, where, there's no other, sometimes you get a weekend attached to it, but it wasn't as nice as it was yesterday. We have 143 of those days. Of those days, there's still an 84% fill rate, which means 16% of those days, 16% of those positions go unfilled every day. That means we're unfilling 1,764 of those positions for a total of 3,557 positions not filled every school year. And it's not something that's just an Old Bridge situation, it's, you know, across the board, as far as these two situations come together where, again, like I said, we have less people going into education and we have a lower unemployment rate. So we're looking for those agencies who professionally recruit and bring in substitute teachers. As the district leader, I'm telling you that everyone who's a substitute here would be eligible and would be a substitute for whatever agency that we bring in. Again, we're at this point to see if there's any agency out there that can help us. So that's why we're looking at this competitive contracting to see what they can bring to the table to help us. Because the most important thing is to have a teacher in every classroom, because that's how we ensure instruction goes on, that continuity goes on, and mostly the safety of the students that are in those classrooms. So that is that item from my superintendent's report. I do have a progress towards goal as well. So 2 items under progress towards goals. One is the whole child. So as you know, this is, I think, our 3rd year is going towards the mandatory middle school training. We have record numbers of people attending early this year. One of the last ones I went to, we had every seat taken up in the GNC and then some, people standing room only. So those dates have been January 8th, February 6th, and our next one is March 18th. That's the last scheduled one we have for the Hidden in Plain Sight program. That's at the GNC, I believe at 6:30 on March 18th. In addition to just looking at and we've asked the speaker to expand beyond just the opioid and overdose situation, but also talk about risks that teens take, and we've seen that happening too with drinking and getting into cars with people who have been drinking. To date, it hasn't been our students who are the ones drinking and had these accidents. It was getting into cars with people or being the victim of someone who was drinking too much. So we want to make sure that we put our students and give them the experience that they know to put themselves in positions where they're safer once they leave our schools. And the other crisis that we're looking at and addressing is vaping in schools. We have expert panel coming to train our professionals here in the district, from administrative team, supervisory team. I believe the nurses are involved in that training as well, counselors. The student assistance counselors as well, and that'll be tomorrow at our instructional leadership team meeting. Sort of program called Take the Vape Away. The next one is fiscal resilience, and that goal we looked at continue to evaluate options to improve fiscal reserves due to the significant decrease in state aid that we witnessed last year, and to continue efforts to educate our stakeholders on the district's fiscal situation due to the significant reduction in state aid. So on this agenda, you'll see a lease agreement with Sayreville Schools for the Cheesequake property. What that does is bring in $5 million in revenue to the district over 10 years. Sayreville, during the terms of that lease, would be responsible for any and all general building maintenance. Old Bridge will be responsible for roofs, doors, windows, and the furnace. Sayreville will be responsible for landscaping, snow removal, and all utility payments. Sayreville will also be responsible for any added security presence at the building, including our outsourcing program with OBPD. Unofficial estimates for the property sale were valued at $2.5 to $3.7 million. Old Bridge Township Public Schools and the district will take in $5 million and still retain ownership of this property for future use and applications in years after the lease. That is the completion of my superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor, do we have any correspondences? Thank you. Special committee reports. Mr. DePriere?
Yes, we have 2. God, you first.
Okay, thank you. On February 4th of this year, I had an athletics, food service, medical service committee meeting. Key issues addressed. Nurse Baker spoke about the coronavirus and gave an update on the do's and don'ts of what to look for and how to avoid it. The flu has been very bad in New Jersey. Elementary schools have been hit hard, but the high school has had less cases than normal. All cases must be reported to the Board of Health. Paul's Law, an act concerning the care of students with epilepsy and seizures, is being mandated, but we already have it in place with training scheduled for September. There was also a discussion on 504 plans and IHCP, which is individual healthcare plans. General Manager of Food Services, Michelle Feliciano, gave an update on district-wide food service news and programs, along with plans for the rest of the school year. Things such as Black History Month catering on February 21st, Future Chefs on March 28th, implementation of card scanners at the remaining elementary schools that don't have them, and possible faculty lunch delivery at the GNC and Sandburg Middle School. Question was raised about non-meat lunch options. Non-meat lunch options are always available, but the new plant-based options may not meet state standards on child nutrition. There was also a discussion on integrating nutrition into our curriculum and possibly starting sustainable gardens, maybe in a partnership with nurseries in town. It's all speculation. Athletic Director Dan Domino was unable to attend the meeting, but he sent along information on our athletic accomplishments so far this year. Some highlights include boys varsity football going undefeated in the regular season, and girls swimming ending the season as Red Division and Conference champs for the first time in school history. Mr. Domino was also working on and very excited about the first Athletic Hall of Fame class scheduled for this coming June. Nominations are open to athletes, coaches, and teams from Madison Township, Madison Central, Cedar Ridge, and Old Bridge High School. It was a fairly short meeting, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Yes, we had a meeting, curriculum meeting, and we had two presenters come in. The first one was Transition to Environmental Science and Meteorology. That was presented by Mr. Caulfield. Mr. Caulfield provided an overview of the transition to environmental science at the Ellen McDermott Grade 9 Center. This environmental science course would replace interrogated science at the lab, science at the emergency or Ellen McDermott Grade 9 Center. Mr. Caulfield also provided an overview of a new course at the Old Bridge High School, meteorology. The science elective will be replaced environmental science at the high school. Dr. Tui was a presenter also. He provided a proposal to move elementary school to a standard-based report card. So he shared with us the current version and the new one, which is going to be implemented for grades kindergarten through grade 2 in 220 and 21, and then for grades 3 through 5 in 21 and 22. He also spoke about PCAST, which is basically what we're going to be doing there is rewriting the curriculum, because I guess every 6 or 7 years they come and they look at that school system. I guess I was involved around 6 or 7. They used to call it middle schools. Remember that? Middle states. And what happens is they come in every 6 to 7 years. They look at the structure of the building, what you're teaching, the curriculum, and we're going to be doing that. We're going to start it this summer. So a lot of the courses have to be rewritten. Ms. Doherty provided an overview of Effective School Solutions program at the Old Bridge High School and the Grade 9 Center. She reviewed the positive impacts of continuing this program with the students. We have a savings of approximately, these are students that were being shipped out of district, which are in-house now. In the last 2 years, we saved approximately $765,000 by keeping them in-house, okay? And hopefully we can continue at this trend. Thank you very much.
Kelly, excuse me, I forgot one thing, please. If anybody wants, I have some handouts left over from the meeting on any of the things that I listed. Feel free at the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you. All right, that was it, right? Okay. We have our facilities use. Okay, now we will open hearing of the residents on agenda items only.
Guess what I'm going to ask about. So just in finding out everything that's going on now with Cheesequake and I guess renting it out for the next 10 years to Sayville, Mrs. Citadino, last year, you told Kyle Anderson that it would take 1.7 million to run the school this year. So minus the 700,000 that it would have taken for, you know, whatever you said that to run it, that 1 million, I'm assuming, was to bring it up to code, or what was that? And who is paying to bring the school up to code, being that it wasn't structurally sound enough to keep our children in it?
I don't know where the number 1.7 million, it was $750,000 would be saved by not operating the school. And that is the number that we save every year we do not have the school open.
So, okay, but Kyle Anderson had asked you what it would take to run the school next year, and you told him 1.7 million. That's what you told him. So I'm asking you. I can't answer that because that's what you told him.
Without having the numbers in my front of me, that may be all the salaries and staff, but those, we don't save all of them by having them go to other buildings. But for the direct impact for the principal, the nurse, everyone is $750,000.
Okay, so,
So
okay.
for those positions to be placed in other areas allowed us to non-renew 85 positions, and that is where that number I believe you're talking about comes from. But it's not totally aligned to Cheesequake School. It's the $1.7 million that is saved by taking the staffing that's completely there and then having it, when we do not renew a lot of the positions that we did not renew last year, that's where the $1.7 million in savings comes from.
Okay, and then who is paying for any major things that need to be fixed in Cheesequake?
Sayreville Board of Education.
Sayreville is covering the bill.
Yes.
Did Sayreville pay for that sign that I guess makes Cheesequake safe now? By the that little flashy sign?
I don't know what sign you're talking about.
There's a sign that went up like by the car wash.
I think that was done by the Highway Department.
That was done by the highway.
By the state, it's the state highway.
Okay. And then I would suggest that since I know you had asked for a Cheesequake name to stay there, but Cheesequake's dead, it's killed, so I don't think that Sayreville should be using Cheesequake and using the accolades of the blue ribbon. It's gone. So that's just what I feel. Thank you.
Hi. I just want to make sure I understand. So to bring a school back online, I know was a lot of money, which is why we weren't ever going to be able to use it as an elementary school. I know you had told me last year that it was just going to be astronomical. So in order to bring it back online, Sayreville is paying for that. Is that in addition to the money that we're getting for the lease, or is that part of the money that we are getting from them leasing it?
If you close a building and then have to keep bringing it back up to today's code, yes, that's an astronomical amount of money. However, the Department of Education does waivers for outside agencies to use other things like schools, as Mr. Parton has assured us. And I'm sure Sayreville looked into that. If they had to pay all those fees to bring it up to code
Right.
and ADA compliant, then they wouldn't be able to do it either. But in this push to have expanded pre-K, they've given waivers to other agencies to come in. If we did it and we brought in as our own school after closing it, we would have to bring it up to code.
Okay, so whatever was wrong with it because we closed it, whatever the rationale for using that, I don't know, you can't add air conditioning, the roof, the dangerous, the cars whipping around hitting the kids, the main road, the buses lining up, the electrical and everything, that now Sayreville doesn't have to worry about? No, what I'm saying is you're saying that all those things that were used for picking our school, Sayreville does not now have to worry about because they can get a waiver?
I think the point is that when it was first addressed to everyone back in January, it was identified that one, we're at a fiscal crisis where we lost state aid. Two, we had to, and I had a chart up there showing we had to look for revenue.
Right.
Two pieces of revenue we've looked at and continue to look at was the Cheesequake property and the Nike base property. Cheesequake was not closed because it is unusable. Cheesequake was closed for a few reasons as it was selected. you know, and I can simplify this by saying if I'm a car collector and I've hit tough times and I have to let go of a car, so I can recoup those tough times, you know, I don't just get rid of something that no one wants. As we talked about at that meeting, Cheesequake School has retail value use. It sat on a location that had resale value. If I took another elementary school that was not part of an ESIP, that was already under contract, it would not garnish us enough money. If you take a neighborhood that a school is tucked into the little back of a neighborhood, it's not going to bring in the type of revenue that a school that sits on a major highway surrounded by commercial properties would bring in. The
Right.
only other school, that elementary school we have of that nature, as I discussed, then it was Miller School. Miller Schools had already gone through the process, and we invested a ton of money in bringing that one
Right.
back up to code. So from looking at the report, the facilities report that was available, Cheesequake was the oldest school.
By name,
Cheesequake,
yes.
yes. Cheesequake was a school that was not, the ESIP did not allow us to bring in new air conditioning, bring in new boilers, because
Right.
it was not fiscally valuable to the ESIP company. What they're doing is they're betting on how much money they can save us when they're doing the ESIP project, because they're counting on the amount of money that we save on their implications of what they do to make the school more environmentally sound will be paid off by making our investment neutral, budget neutral. If it's not budget neutral, then they have to
Right.
have us recoup that.
I guess my question is, from what our research and from what we understood last year, was that, I don't know if that whole 90-10% where the 10% of that property has to be zoned or used for educational purposes, which made the property in theory unsellable, and one, it wasn't ever zoned commercial, that it's zoned for office. So I guess that's where we just, was it even really sellable? Could you ever really actually sell that property, or not? In other words, again, that was part of the rationale, and I get it, if it was a sellable piece of property, but we found out, pretty on this whole, that it was, 10% of that land was donated for specific use for educational purposes, which Cedarville fulfills, which is fine, but commercially, was it ever viable to sell? It doesn't,
Yes.
it doesn't
You
sound
know,
like it.
When we got to that point where, again, to assure you that 10% is not struck in the middle of the property, it's to the side closest to the firehouse, so if you wanted to, remove that portion of it,
Right.
then we could just move that portion and sell the rest if that really is what it came down to.
Right.
But when this
That would be tough, because now you have no access,
But
and,
when
you
this
have to
opportunity
right, so
came
you
up with
couldn't really sell
Sayreville,
that, yeah.
why would we do that? Because
Right.
what we looked at was selling it, we would get $2.5 to $3.7 million maybe. That would be on the high end, and we could only use that for 1 year, as we went over many
Right.
times last year. That money can only plug into one budget year, then anything else we wouldn't be able to use for future years unless it was to offset the cost of health insurance for our employees.
Right.
So when you're getting a revenue of $500,000 for 10 years that goes right into your general fund, you can use that as we're losing another
Right.
$11 million for the next 5 years to offset those costs and then help us recover after that.
Right, and trust me, we are happy that the building is not going to sit there and that kids will be in it. Not happy that's not our kids, but that's besides the point. I think most of us kind of feel like the reasons that we were given for the closure, that it was old, the maintenance, that it was dangerous, was a big thing for cars and the highway and all of that, to now know that there's younger kids going in there, kind of just hit us right here. So I think most of us just want to, it's more of a, if you were planning on using our building and always picking our school, then just say that, and not with the dangerous and throw it in there and kind of like, I don't know, we felt like it was the buzzwords, like, well, it's dangerous, you don't want your kids there, that's why we picked your school.
You
and
can
we
feel
could
that
sell
way,
it.
and if you-
No, I know, what I'm just saying is, no, I know, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but let me finish.
But you're putting words in my mouth. That's the part I'm interrupting, because I never said it that way.
That it was dangerous?
No, I agree.
That there
I
was-
would.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so,
No, go ahead.
go ahead. I'll let you respond. When you're done, you just turn off the mic, then I'll go.
You got it. Okay, so again, we don't want it not to be used. If we have income for our district, oh my gosh, great, let's use that. I think what struck us is that all of a sudden, all the problems that were the reason for why our school was picked suddenly are not there. And a lot of us are like, what happened to those problems? They magically went away. Now it's a wonderful school. Now it's a beautiful, cute school that we were told all the reasons why it's not and the reasons why it was picked. And so I think that's what we just want clarification on, just to make sure. And again, we're not fighting Sayreville coming in. We are happy that there will be kids there. We're happy that we're recouping some money. I think the main part was what happened to all that rationale for picking our school. Just optically, it is hitting a lot of the Cheesequake family like, what? So that's all it was. And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but dangerous was a reason for why our school, one of the reasons why it was picked, because it was on a major highway, because the buses would line up, because in the parking lot, cars could whip around and possibly run into a kid, whip off the highway and run into a kid, even though I'm not sure how that would happen. So that's all. That's what we just are looking for clarification on. That's it. Okay, go ahead.
I'm only going to speak when you're done.
Oh, sure, I'm done. Oh, all right.
So, in the questions that you're asking, a lot of the questions you're asking, yes, did I say those? And I still stand by that. If you look at the other remaining 11 elementary schools, and I pointed those out. None of them sit on a major highway, except for one other. And it's set back further than that. It's not set right on the highway, the front door. And I told you that front door of that school is, I think, less than 50 yards from a major highway. It's difficult to get in and out of there with buses, with that light there. Parents have complained to me that they have difficulty getting there and being the dangers of walking down Route 34 on any given night. Doesn't even have to be a major school event. I've never had that concern or complaint from any of the other elementary schools. So all of those things still do exist. And if I have to say, well, if I'm to rank all of the other 11 elementary schools on those parameters, yes, Cheesequake is the most dangerous in that way. We had that incident that year where a student went out a door, and before the police officer who was assigned there could even see him, he was already on the highway. That wouldn't happen at the other schools because you're a distance from the highway and you're a distance from the main road. They're all kind of set back, so those things don't change. So when you're saying that all the things I said have now gone away, that's not true, because I said it has high resale value. It has high appeal to another school or agency or someone else who wanted to buy it. And that's why it's being rented out at the price it's being rented out at. Had it been any other school, Sayreville would not have been interested in it, probably, unless it was Madison Park School. But Madison Park School is not set on a highway. Madison Park School is set back in a little neighborhood. So those were all the reasons. Nothing's changed. The reasons why it's valuable to someone else is still there. Whether they want to line the buses up and have the limited parking lot, they saw it. We walked them around it. I showed them exactly how the bus line up. Maybe that's better than any other option they had. But that's the option that they chose. And I'm grateful that they chose this option because, like I said, that school belongs to the entire community. And it's going to benefit the entire community as we're looking at very tough times for the next few years. But you're not going to hear that from us this year because we have at least a source of revenue that's going to help us this year. And I'm hoping that that source of revenue is helpful to us so that we're not looking at cutting 85 positions again in future years. We're not looking at eliminating student programs. We're not looking at cutting buses and transportation. That's the hope of this. Thank you.
Anyone else? No? Okay, so we'll close public comments and move on. There's no policy. We'll move on to curriculum, professional development, items 1 through 5. Can I have a motion, please?
Dunn will make a motion, curriculum professional development, items 1 through 5, Madam President.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Burns will second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Oh, I got a question. Number 3, should there be something else with that? Oh, just the names, never mind. Just no B then, okay. Never mind, I answered my own question, looked at it a little closer. Sorry. Anybody else got a question? Makes sense? Okay, Mr. Mara, please.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Resolutions 1 through 5 pass.
thank you. Athletics, just number 1, can I have a motion, please?
Callie will move.
Thank you. Can I have a
DeCarroll
second?
will second.
Carol, thank you. Any questions, comments? No? Okay, Mr. Mara, please.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Resolution 1
thank you. Finance, 1 through 8. Could I have a motion, please?
Carol will motion.
Thank you. Carol, can I have a second, please?
Dunn will second.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? I'd just like to thank all the businesses who continue to advertise on Lombardi. It's just another way that we can bring in some sources of income and just, those community partners of ours who continue to support us, so thank you. And Mr. Merrick, can I have roll call?
Giordano,
Yes.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Resolutions 1
thank you. Non-certificated personnel office, 1 item. If I could have a motion, please?
Callie will move.
Ms. Carey, could I have a second?
Carol will second.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? Mr. Roll call, please, Mr. Mayor?
Silikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Resolution 1
thank you. Nothing under non-certificated personnel operational, so we'll go to non-certificated personnel other, 1 through 5. If I can have a motion, please?
I'll move it.
It's Mr. DePrima, thank you. Can I have a second?
Burns will second.
Thank you. Any questions, discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Merrill?
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 5.
All right, thank you. And certificated personnel, items 1 through 17. If I can have a motion, please?
Dunn will move certificated personnel, items 1 through 17, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Can I have a second?
Callie will second.
Okay,
Separating number 1 for discussion.
okay, thank you. All right, any discussion on any of the items? Okay, Mr. Salkowski, do you have a discussion?
Yes. Move the board approve the retirement of the following staff member with depreciation of their dedicated service to the district for 29 years, Mr. Drew Devine. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Salkowski. Anything else? No? Okay, roll call, Mr. Mayor, please.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
I'm abstaining on item 4A, otherwise yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 17 pass.
Thank you. Nothing in non-certificated personnel transportation. So next is supplies, equipment, and services, number 1 through 2. If I can have a motion, please?
Callie will move.
Thanks, Mrs. Kelly. Can I have a second?
Carol, second.
Mr. Kara, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all right. Mr. Mara, roll call, please.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Resolutions 1 and 2.
thank you. Transportation, 1 through 3. If I can have a motion, please.
Then we'll move transportation, items 1 through 3, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Can I have a second?
Burns will second.
Thank you, Mrs. Burns. Any discussion, questions? Roll call, Mr. Mayor, please.
Giordano,
Yes.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 3.
Thank you. Miscellaneous, number 1 through 6. If I can have a motion, please.
Carol will move.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Callie will second.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? No? Okay. All right. Mr. Mara, if we could have roll call, please.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 6 pass.
Thank you. Board Secretary and Board Business, item number 1. If I can have a motion, please.
Callie will move.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Giordano, second.
Mr. Giordano. Any discussions, questions?
Yes, separating number 1 for discussion.
Okay. There's no- Okay.
Yes, I remember when this came up, I guess it was about a year ago. And I listened to both sides, and I was probably the only board member that voted against closing the school, okay, at the time. And I'm ecstatic that we are renting it out right now for $500,000 each year for the next 10 years, which is a big help to us, and hopefully a big help to the Cerebral school system. But I just wanted to tell everybody that I was the sole voter, no on this one, because it was a blue ribbon school. I didn't realize that there was structural damage at the time, and there was a lot of problems with the building, and it was cleared up as time went on, where the busing and everything else, but I will be voting yes on it for bringing in the $5 million over the next 10 years. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'd just like to say that I do understand what the Cheesequake parents are going through, but ultimately it is Sayreville's responsibility to decide whether or not they felt the school was safe or responsible for them. Thank you.
No? Okay, roll call, Mr. Mayor, please.
Silikowski,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Callie,
Yes.
DeCaro,
Yes.
DePrima,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Giordano,
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolution 1 pass.
Thank you. Now, we will open up the hearing of the residents on any school district item. Anybody? Okay. Any old business? Anybody? Oh, you ready for, okay. Any new business?
Yes, the next curriculum meeting is scheduled for the 27th of this month. Thank you.
Okay, then we also have a technology after that one. Okay. Any other
Just-
new business?
Just an FYI, I won't be here for the technology meeting. I'll be away next week. So,
Mr. Hooper?
I would just like, is that on? I would just like to share that we have 6 schools and the district that were recertified as state schools of character. Carpenter, Miller, Memorial, Southwood, Shira, Old Bridge High School, and the district. When we get the results from the state report, once we submit our application, the district received a 3.9 out of a 4, which was an extremely high score. They provide us with the strengths and areas that we should focus on and anything that they think we should pursue as a promising practice. I just want to share some of the highlights. To date, Old Bridge schools have received 38 promising practices. This clearly shows that the district program has remained very strong and they continue to expand, refine, and strengthen their program. SAT scores have moved from 1,019 to 1,125. AP courses have increased. There has been a decrease in the number of special education referrals as their RTI program has academic gaps identified and corrected early. Insightful leaders continue to build a climate where students, staff, parents, and community are working together as a team. They keep on the edge of educational research, modeling a growth mindset. They became involved with Microsoft Innovative Education, provide special character education training for new teachers, have AP seniors mentoring younger AP students, have a ShopRite satellite grocery store in the high school, and student guiding nights give cross-grade level help. Above all, they celebrate and work together. There's a summer institute each school year to start with a celebration centered on the new CE theme, character ed theme. Thanksgiving's Give Back Jubilee brings the community together. Cultures are highlighted at World Fest, and Lights Camera Cure is a relay for life. Old Bridge truly models what a national district of character can and should be. I want to add that, I don't want to share just the highlights, but I want to point out here that even in the areas where they said that we had, there's things that we can work on, there was very little. It is very difficult to address every aspect of an extremely strong character program in a very large district with the exact number of characters that a school is allotted in the application. Old Bridge has successfully addressed all but a very few of the key indicators. And it's noted that these few indicators may actually be in place, but there's not enough room in the application to include everything. That's where they will be coming out and do a site visit and visit each one of the schools that have been recertified at the state level. They'll come out and visit the district as a whole to make sure that all of these things that were in the application are taking place. Their ending comment was, keep your focus and your growth mindset. You are a valuable model for all districts. Please continue your outstanding program and your involvement with other schools, the NJASECD and character.org. Congratulations on a job well done. I just really wanted everyone to hear how they feel that we do work as a team, we come together as a community, and how much that stood out in the overall district application. Thank you.
Kelly, can I just add something to that?
Please.
We might not be perfect. Nobody's really perfect, but I think we're doing a pretty good job. And that's, these accolades just keep coming in every day, and I'm really proud to be a part of this.
Thank you. Any other new business? Okay.
I handed out an updated list of events that I've brought together, and I just want to thank my fellow board members for passing things on, and that's it.
Anybody else before we close? Nobody? Nothing? There is no executive session tonight, so So, anything else? Any comments from anybody before we adjourn?
Yes, I would like to congratulate all our new hirees. I wish them a lot of luck. Again, congratulations, Mateo, for your service to our community for I guess, 2.5 tons of food that you brought in. Thank you very much. And Allison, again, I want to thank you for your service, okay? You're a saint. Thank you.
If we're not going into executive session, then I just want to say one thing. So I'm really into reading, and last time I was here, I suggested a book, and I'm going to also then suggest this, the leadership book that was actually suggested to us by somebody else. But this is a book that my husband had to read for work. It's actually written at a 3rd grade reading level, so we read it to our kids. And it talks about, about a changing world. So yeah, it talks a little bit about an iceberg melting, but really it's about how to manage new situations, which I think seeing what's going on, our loss of state aid, new schools, new people in the neighborhood, I think it's just a good read. It's our iceberg is melting. Thanks.
It's gonna be a regular thing, like books with Burns. Yeah, I like that.
So actually, Teresa, I'll see you after this. So we have our board retreat this Thursday at 6, so maybe we'll look at bringing that up. It's a great idea, so thank you. You know, one other thing I just want to mention, talking about SEPTA and, you know, the community that helps us, this last Thursday, Giuseppe's Pizza in Old Bridge, what?
I said that's great.
Oh, yeah. Did the first, it's an inclusion night, it's every Thursday? Second Thursday, in dining, really created activities and menus for everybody, and it was a wonderful thing, and they're going to do it every week, every month, so it was just really a great night, and you know, it's those kind of things that we do with the community that, yeah, maybe it's not happening in the classroom, but it's a way for us all to get together, and, you know, just share and socialize and everything, so just wanted to mention that, and I guess that's it. So everyone, thank you for coming out. Please always come out. We do want to keep hearing from everybody. And have a great rest of the month, and we'll see you in March. Oh, roll call.
Bless you.
Motion to adjourn. Can I first, Mr. Dunn, can I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Burns? All,